talk about the Australian connection. So it goes back to your first 3 albums on the indie label, Stoby Sounds.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
They were putting out a tribute album to Big Joe Williams, and some guys that I knew in America were on that album. And I went to the website to hear their songs, and ended up finding other people on that compilation album. And I contacted them and said, how can I get the album or something like that. And then I guess we hooked up on Facebook, and then we had just recorded, me and the first drummer had just recorded that Something Fell at the House thing. And then they're like, do you want us to release it? I'm like, well, yeah. We didn't have a label or anything. So yeah, and so they got us here in 11 for Backwater Blues Fest in Adelaide, and then we played a string of shows with Chris Russell here in Melbourne. Matter of fact, Chris more or less made all that tour happen outside of what was going on in Adelaide. So the exposure to all the Melbourne and Victoria people was all through Chris Russell. Man, we're grateful as hell.
Yeah, and you've had this love affair with Australia ever since, and Australia loves you. Like, this tour sold out everywhere you go. It's so far, magnificent.
Yeah.
So, what about the Backsliders connection? Tell us about that one.
We met them at Wangaratta. Yeah, back in 2013.
Calling with her slow blues, and we all just jammed on it together.
Yeah. Dom came up, and Ian and Jeff Lang and Snooks Levine. We all jammed the slow blues on the Saturday, because we played all 3 nights at the fest, and we either opened for them or went on right after whoever. We were all hanging out back, and everybody was just so cool. It was just like, hey, let's do a slow blues, and there ended up being, it was like P-Funk. There was like 15 people on stage.
So this brings us to your current tour. You're 3 shows in. Now, we've talked about how it's going so far. You've had full houses everywhere you're going. How much more have you got in Australia before you head off?
Got Old Bar on Wednesday, and then we go to Adelaide for the Fringe. We're playing the Gov down there. And then Theatre Royal in Castlemaine. Then we fly to Sydney, play Vanguard, and then we do Peterson Bowls Club in Sydney, and then we're home. And then we come back in May for Broad Beach. Yeah, for Broad Beach, yeah. And we haven't got our visas yet, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to tour or if it's just going to be the festival. Okay. Because we don't have a time range. Because if we're able to tour, we'll definitely come back to Melbourne and probably hit Adelaide as well. But if we just get a week's visa, then we'll do the Broad Beach and go home.
Fabulous. Now let's talk about your 2 new releases. Have Mercy and Hump Night 55 from last year. Hump Night 55, interesting title.
Yeah, he was living in Covington, Louisiana, on the North Shore. And we had to cross the causeway every day, and there's this big ass, a road sign. And if you read it from top to bottom, because you're going over, it's the longest bridge over water in the world. And it's like 28 miles, which I don't know what that is in metric, but it's a long one. And there's these signs that, I don't know, I think you said it. You're like, if you read that from top to bottom, it says Hump Night 55. And I was like, yeah, because the first 54 were so good. You got to have a 55th.
Yeah.
And he was...
Then it comes from us humping all night in the studio.
Oh, working all night long.
Back and forth. We stayed over there in Louisiana, it seemed like every day. All day in New Orleans, every day going back and forth.
Always on that damn bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 54 miles a day just on the bridge.
Yeah.
And what can you tell us about Have Mercy then? What can you tell us about the album, the recording of it? Great. It's the most sort of variety you've had on an album so far, isn't it? You've got a bit of Zydeco on there, you've got some special guests.
It's actually the first time we've been able to record together and take the time to, but money's always a problem with music, right? So we've always put out albums that we could afford. After we got back from Australia last time?
Yeah.
That's when
we started.
Yeah, Monkey. Sorry, this is our label right here, Cash Monkey Records. And Monkey called me up out of the blue, and he's like, "Hey, I just booked a bunch of time in the studio here in New Orleans. You want to make an album?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." And then, so basically, how would you put it? He's kind of he's a patron more than a label. You know what I mean? Because he's such a music guy. It's like he takes music that touches his soul, and he'll support that. I'll take that back. There's a little vetting goes on. You have to be you can't be a jackass. You got to be,
Yeah.
good. Which I was a hell of a compliment that he picked us over a bunch of people to back. And it's thanks to Cash Monkey Records. And between Monkey and Dom Turner, that's why we're here right now. Those are our two angels.
Yeah, but it was funny how we met Monkey though to get this started. It was through Matt Rock.
Matt Rock
First of all,
he lives down on the peninsula. What's his name? Rosebud. He's from Rosebud.
Okay.
But he owns a What's up, Matt? He owns a shotgun shack in Clarksdale,
Yeah.
Mississippi. We were playing the
Wow.
Juke Joint Festival, and he had us come over and play a yard party at his house the night before it all kicked off.
So there's a connection.
Yeah, there's some YouTube video of us. It's kind of cool. I mean, you don't see anything going on, and you can't hardly see us either. But it's this shotgun shack, and the sun's going down behind us, and we're just rocking and having a good time. And it rained so bad the night before. Remember that?
yeah.
It's like everybody's out there in the mud,
Yeah.
and then there's like 3 dry patches, and that's where the dancing was happening. Everything else was underwater.
Just deep
And it was
down in the
cold,
depths.
man. God, it was cold that night.
And you got Dom on this album as well, so you got Dom Turner on
Yeah,
it?
he came to New Orleans on vacations with him and Ida, and it just so happened that we were in the studio at the same time. We're like, no, man, you got to come in and do this. And we did a live streaming thing for Wangaratta Jazz Festival. Because Dom had played there, and we had played there, and they were doing this streaming thing. And like, well, hell, we're all going to be at the same spot. And then those live tracks ended up being so good that they're on Hump Night 55, and then he's on the playing slide on the song with the tuba on Have Mercy.
Yeah, on Have Mercy.
Front
yeah.
porch.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
we haven't played since we recorded this. Because, we should do that. We're touring with him. We should play that. I don't know why we didn't think of that.
Yeah. And of course the Zydeco on it, like the
Buckwheat Zydeco.
Yeah.
And the Doopsie Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Just
Ass on Fire. That's
Yeah.
a killer track, man.
What about my shade?
I don't know what he was saying. Oh, I do know what he's saying, but we can't say it on air. It was Creole for, can you say that? Yeah, anyway, I'll just say it. You can edit it out.
Yeah.
He's basically, so there's a documentary about Clifton Chenier, the guy that invented
Yeah.
Zydeco, right? And it's called Hot Pepper. Okay. And he did a song back in the day called Hot Tamale Baby. And so Ass on Fire is literally my version of Buckwheat Zydeco's version of Clifton Chenier's song Hot Tamale Baby. And the thing is, what happens after you eat hot peppers? Get ass on fire, right? So like it's the next thing, right? And so what Anthony Doopsie's saying in Creole at the end is like, if you eat a pepper tonight, you're gonna shit tomorrow.
I've been talking with C.R. Humphrey and JJ from Old Gray Mule. Thank you both so much for your time.
Oh yeah.
Good luck for the rest of the tour.
Thank you.
And thanks for being a part of Blues on the Hill.
No, absolutely.
Listen to those drums, folks. Listen to those drums, man. Give it up for them, folks.
From Old Gray Mule, and you're listening to Baz on the Hill with Blues.
Keeping the blues alive, baby.
I fucked it up on purpose.
You want to stick with that?